Hello, everyone. I've had some really great conversations with students, and after giving feedback, I am creating this video to guide you in creating strong characters and to guide you in pushing yourselves a bit further to show details. Also to guide you in creating characters that embody their emotions and their needs, wants, and desires. So I'm going to create a few characters, add texture, and do my best to guide you through this video. Everything that I'm doing is unscripted, it's off the top of my head. So I'm going to be searching for shapes to create various characters. And this might be, we're going to see me make my first draft and then, push the characters a little further as I'm thinking about things. These might not be my final designs if I were a student turning this in, but I want to help guide you all in pushing past your initial designs. Okay, so creating a character. In Canvas, there is a section called shapes, and we're going to look at all shapes. And remember with project 2, we learned that shapes can be formed to, shapes can be put together to create union. You can use shapes to create subtraction that show a variety of things. So I want to make a human. And so I'm just going to find, I'm going to use this basic shape and take a circle. And if I take this basic shape, these two basic shapes, and put them together, I've made a really simple shape for a human being, right? This is just the beginning of something. So make sure they're aligned. I'm going to group rather both of these. I can come here to position and I can align them from the center. There we are. So I have a head and I have a body. I have shoulders, right? This is a really simple shape. Let's just say, and we can group them together so we can move them, right? Move them around. So let's just say I'll put him here in the center. I want to show progression of age. So let's just say, what happens if this character now becomes a senior? What happens if I move his head here, right? It looks like a senior citizen who's bent over, right? I'm going to group this person. What if I wanted to show this character as a baby? I can make it smaller or small child. Do the same here, right? I'm playing with age. Maybe this could be a progression of age, right? So this is adolescent. Maybe he's, 7 years old. What happens if I take this character and I want to show him as a baby crawling? What happens if I put the head here? Maybe right there. Little baby crawling. I make it a little wider, it's like his little body, right? So I'll group this one. Oops. So this is grouped. So these are my beginning shapes of a person, and I'm showing age, right? I have a baby, I have a toddler, or excuse me, a 7-year-old. I have an adult, and then I have this person aging as a senior citizen. These are just shapes I put together. This is my first initial design. In the folktale, I'm making up a story here. Some students have reached out and say, how do I make my character look poor, right? There are stories where a character is described as being poor, not having a lot of money. For an example, in Jack and the Beanstalk, Jack and his mother live in a house. They don't have a lot of money. The last thing they own is their cow. Jack and his mother are hungry. So they're famished. So they only have a cow. These are people who don't have a lot of money. How do we show that? Well, let's take this adult person and we'll put him here. So I want to show my character in my folk tale that I'm making up. My character is a farmer, and he's described as a poor farmer. So I can do a variety of things. I can use color, right? Maybe to show, and in my story that I'm making up, my character is a poor farmer, but he goes on an adventure. And at the end of the story, my character becomes a wealthy king. So I could use hue, color to show an impoverished person and then change. Maybe I use more subtle and muted colors and I change those colors to be vibrant when he becomes a king. But let's make my farmer right now. Oops. So this is going to be my shape for my farmer. And my farmer, I've noticed in some of the feedback that I give students is you have the shapes where your characters aren't wearing any clothes. Now you don't have to go into full details. It all depends on every student. But if my character is a farmer, I'm going to put him in overalls. So I'm going to make himself just a little, his clothing maybe just a little, oops. Let's go here. And I want his overall shape to be that. Okay, so this is my farmer. So I'm going to go back to shapes here. I'm going to grab a square. And I have two types of squares. I have squares with really sharp corners, and I have this square with soft edges. So I'm going to see what this looks like. Oh, no, I'm going to want something because the bottom of my character has sharp edges. I'm going to use the same. So I'm going to put this here. And I'm going to give my character some overalls. Oh, maybe these would be better because it's for the shoulders. Let's see. Nah, I'll just use this. And then I'll put some here. Okay. So he's wearing overalls and maybe raise him up a little. And I'll give him a pocket. And I'll change that color. And right now my character is wearing overalls. Okay. Um, he's a farmer, so let's give him a hat. So we're going to go back here and look at some shapes. And I need a hat with a brim. So I'm just looking at some shapes and thinking, okay, let's see what's going to be visually interesting. So, with this tool here, we can rotate shapes. I can make shapes thinner and wider. So I'm going to use this shape for my hat. He's a farmer. And then I'm going to put this here. Give him a hat. Okay. He's had a hard day, so his hat is a little askew. There's my farmer with a hat. I can make the brim wider if I want. Okay. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to group that hat. So if I need to, I could just move the hat. So here's my farmer, and I could change the hat this direction. And this is my farmer. Okay, I made a cute little farmer. Now, in this story, I just reread it and I realized that my farmer goes through some emotional changes. Or I could just say, listen, what if this story is about a farmer? So I'm showing that the farmer, let me move this. I don't want the head to be, oops, there. Just want to group these two. Okay. Let's just say, what if my farmer, I'm putting him in clothing, and let's just change his torso for a second. I'm gonna give him, let's see. Oops. I like that color. Okay, so we're going to this group. There we are. There we are. So that's my farmer. So I'm showing that my farmer, I'm choosing to show that my farmer is impoverished by the clothing he's wearing. He's wearing gray clothes at this time. I could maybe change or add if I like a little to show a little I some visual interest here in the hat. Let's see. Well, we'll get to that. Let's just get the basic shapes in. So this is my farmer. Now, my farmer um is poor, but he's been described as a happy farmer. So maybe I, this wasn't root, maybe I changed the hue of my farmer's clothes to show that he's a happy guy. So maybe I'm going to put him in yellow, find a pale yellow or bright yellow. That's fine. And I have this, and this will be yellow, and then we'll change this hue. Or maybe I'll play with analogous colors. There's my farmer. And my farmer is happy. He's always outgoing, and he has a lemon farm. That's why he wears yellow. So we're going to change this and his hat. We'll make his hat a little, maybe this part will be. Oh, I know what I'll do. Let's see this. See, as I'm making, even as an artist, we have to just start making because when you make, what I'd really love right now is like a crescent moon. I'd love a little crescent moon shape. When you start making, you generate ideas and more, and ideas start coming as you're making. So it's really important that even if you get frustrated or tired, that you just keep working. I mean, you take a rest, but you keep working on your designs because you'll start generating more. So let's give a little highlight of an interesting hue here. And maybe we'll put, I really would love a crescent. Oh, you know what we can do? We can do this. Here's a line. And if you go to line here, line type, we can curve. And then we can play with line weight. There we are. So I want to do something. I'd like to just show like a little shadow. Let's see how this works, if this becomes actually interesting or not. Yes, I'd like that. And then can I play with the color? I sure can. There we are. I like that. That's great. And then we're going to do the same over here. And my characters are coming to life. Look at this. There we are. Okay, so I need to show that my character is poor. How do I show that my character is poor? Well, in things that I've seen, watching movies, cartoons, or the stereotypical farmer that isn't making a lot of money or is recycling materials, patches. Or maybe we show some, kind of text lines that might suggest wear and tear. So let's put a patch or two on our character. So, and the patches don't have to be square. They could be fun shapes. Let's find, I'll just use a little triangle. So maybe there's a little triangle patch on on his on his overalls. And we'll change this color to a pale gray. And then we'll do a patch on this person. We'll put a patch on their hat. And we'll change this to maybe another color. What's a gray color? We know blues are great. Maybe we'll do a blue patch for some visual interest. There we are. And then we'll put some lines on it to suggest like sewing marks. We'll do it over here. Sometimes it's great working outside of your project. I recommend that for everyone. Work in a document like this, on a new page, and then carry things over to your project so you don't accidentally um, mess up your work. Okay, so this is cute. We're going to group that. So here's a patch, and then we'll copy this and make your life easy. You see, I'm just copying things and then just changing the color so I don't have to reinvent the wheel. And we'll take this, oops, and we'll put this over here. Oh, now we have to add this back. There we are. And we'll change the direction here. And these are hand sewn, so we're going to make this a little askew. Send this back again. Oops. There we are. That's cute. Give some movement. And then we'll put this on the hat. Okay, so I just made a patch. And then maybe I will take some of these lines. I'll do one more thing and kind of make little, I can make little scruffy marks. So what if I take, I'm gonna go into shape and oops. Sometimes, because farmers work, maybe he has a hole in his clothes, right? But let's find a little scruffy mark and like a smudge. What would a good smudge be? Just for right now, I'm going to put a little cloud and I'll make a tiny little smudge mark on maybe on, I'll make this one gray. But you get the idea, right? You get the idea. A little smudge mark and I'll make it tiny. Maybe I can put a little smudge mark on his where has he been working? He wiped his chin. I don't know. Yeah, a little smudge mark. Oh, but if that's on his face, let's just do it this way. Let's choose a color that might be, yeah, a little smudge mark on his face. Okay. And then we'll put a little smudge mark on his clothing. Okay. So right now I've just made two. Oh, that's what I was going to do. Let's see. I'm going to make a little. I'm just going to make like a little sew spot that maybe suggests some of his clothing was mended. We'll do that. And this is going to be grouped and we can make it tiny. So maybe his hat has been mended. We'll put that there. And let's do this. What if his hat also um, has now so this is going to be interesting because this is on a white background and we're going to show something. Okay, so we have a farmer who's poor. We're using poor. We're using gray because he's poor. We have a little mended mark on his cap. We have a smudge on his face because he's been working. He's dirty. We have a little patch here. We have a smudge mark on this one. We have a patch. We can put him also in a shirt. So let's put him in a shirt. There we are. Let's put this one in a shirt. We'll do a we'll do a we'll do a do a pale blue shirt for this guy. Really pale. There. So they're wearing clothing. We have smudge marks. We'll put a little sewing mended mark on this other character as well. Uh-oh. See, okay, so I'm moving too fast. I did not, I thought I grouped my sewing parts. Let's see here. Again, all of this is just off the cuff. We're just making things. I like that. Okay, so we're going to group this. And I'm going to copy it. So I'm going to put a little sewing spot here on his clothes, and I'll put this on his hat. Okay, so I want to also show that, and now I'm going to group all this together. And I'm going to group all of this farmer together so I can move them around with ease. Okay, so what I want to also do is I want to show that this farmer's hat is torn, maybe up here. So I'm going to put this here. I'll change this to white because my background is white and it looks like his hat has been torn, right? So let's group this, right? So he's been working in the field. He got his hat cut on something. If I now want to move this character to a new environment, and let's just say this is the environment. Let's make this, he's working outside. We're going to make this blue. And let's give a ground. Oops. This is blue. He's working in the field. So we're going to make some land, right? And we're just making up something here. This is off the top. My character is outside working. And oh, here's a great one. Let's just say he's growing corn. So this is going to be my corn shape. He's growing corn. And I'm going to put some corn here in the ground. Corn grows pretty tall. So see, now that I did that, I'm going to have to give another shape for the stalk. Let's just do that quickly. We'll do this. Again, this is just all made up. Oops. I'm gonna make that green. This is just my initial sketch, so it's not gonna have everything. I advise you to come in here and really choose colors that really work for you. And corn grows pretty tall, doesn't it? So we're gonna have some tall corn. And I have to do one more thing to make sure. Let me use this. Again, I'm just making up something here. This is going to be my corn. Doesn't corn grow in the little husks? So these are my husks. And I'll make this green as well. And I'll make another one. Again, I'm just making this up. Okay, so this is my corn. We'll just change this value slightly. Okay. All right, so this is my corn. 2, 3. I'm going to group this. I'll copy it. I'll make another one. And maybe I'll make this one a little smaller to suggest it's farther behind. Okay, so this is my cornfield. and I'm going to put my character in the cornfield. So what's going to happen? I made a hole in his hat, right? Because it's on a white background, it works. Once I copy this character and put him here, it no longer works. So what do I have to do? I have to ungroup. I have to bring this guy over here. I'm going to make these smaller for now. And once you group them, you can change the size to make space in your work area and then just enlarge them again. So I'm bringing this guy over here. I'm going to ungroup it. I'm going to change this to the color of the background. There we are. So it doesn't look right now, but once I group this all together and now move my character here, looks like he has a hole in his shirt, right? A hole in his hat. So I've made a character. I've made a farmer. I made a happy farmer. I made a farmer that's impoverished and maybe we think he's a little down. Um, but now I also told you that my farmer is now going to become prosperous. So I'm just going to make a little space here. And maybe my farmer doesn't become a king, but he just becomes prosperous. So things change for him. So I still have my farmer. And what should we do to my farmer? He's definitely not going to have a hole in his hat. He's not going to have dirt on him. He definitely won't have any patches. Maybe his clothes are a little fancier. So now he is really feeling himself. He has a lot of money. Let's change his attire a bit. What do we want him to wear? What do we want him to wear? So he's a farmer, so maybe now he doesn't wear overalls. He is just a fancy farmer who wears nice denim and he's going to have on some great jeans. So we're going to lower this. We're going to put him in blue. Because he can afford the best denim out there. I'm going to make that a little darker. Um, make that a little lighter, and then his jeans will be a darker hue. And we're going to put him in some jeans, which will make a little darker. And we will give him we'll make a separation for the legs. And then we'll make this the blue that we have before. Oops. And we'll make it a little wider. And we're going to give him some fancy cowboy boots. So let's give him some fancy cowboy boots because he's on a farm and he is just Mr. Wealthy. So how do we want to make these boots? Right now, these are going to possibly be, this is my first design. So I can even say like my first design were these guys, right? I showed up, I was like, this is my farmer. Now I'm working on my farm and I'm pushing it forward, right? So we'll give him some buttons on his fancy shirt. Oops. We'll make these small. And what color do we want the buttons to be? Maybe because we know complementary colors, he has orange buttons. He's fancy. Or maybe he has gold buttons. He has gold buttons. We'll give him some gold buttons on his shirt. And his pants are, the thread is gold. So we're going to give him some gold thread. We're going to make this a little thinner. make it shorter. And we're going to turn this to gold. Oops. So we're going to make a little thread for his pockets. Oh, you know what I think we'll do? We will, see, I'm really getting into this. Okay, so we'll make, how do we want to make this pocket? I think we'll use a triangle. Let's see. I'm just trying to envision how pocket works. Okay, so we have a pocket. Let's rotate this. Um, I want to, I can't think right this second. I'm trying to get through this for you guys. Okay, so I'll come back to that. I'm going to use squares for the pockets. And we'll use a slightly lighter color. Well, maybe what if we just use the thread? I like the idea of having this thread for a pocket. And maybe I just rotate it. I don't know yet. This is how we're learning. Does that work? I don't know. Maybe I'm just going to set these aside. There's something I want to do with that. But anyway, he has buttons that are gold, and we're going to give him some boots. And I'm going to give him some interesting pointy boots. Oh, what if we made boots like this? We're going to give him a little boot like this. Again, I'm just making this up. I have no idea what this should necessarily be. That's the bottom of one, maybe. Let's see. Put one over here. He's gonna have some interesting cowboy boots. And then they're under the boots. So let's see, what do we want? I kind of want him to have like a pointy boot. I'm gonna try something. Let's see. I want him to have a pointy boot. So let's make the boot up here. And we're not going to see the top of the boot because it is, well, I guess we could. This will just be the boot like this. And we're going to group this. And this boot will be also made of gold. And we will position this in the back. So excellent. So he has boots, and I can play with value later. Okay, so we want to copy this. Copy paste. There we are. And we're going to Here's the flip. I can never remember this one. Okay, I'm just going to ungroup this real fast and then put this boot over here. Oops. And make this boot. So here's one boot. Here's his other boot. Let's group these two together. Group. And here's his other boot. We're going to move his boot to the back. And I want my people that are reading my folktale or reading my children's book to know that they sparkle. So, oh, let's change his hat. Um, he's wearing navy, he has this gold. Um, what color hat do we want him to have? We're gonna put him in. It's a nice brown hat, something contrasting. For now, we're just gonna do this brown hat for now. With a little color. I'm gonna stretch this. And we'll give this some color. There we are. Okay, so this is his hat. Let's group it together. And we'll put it back on him. All right. I'm not feeling this hat right now because of the different colors. Let me move this back up and group this. I want this. We'll just do this for now. Okay, so right now, here's my guy. He has a new hat, which I'll add texture to later somehow. He's wearing new clothing, and we're going to, oh, and because his boots are gold and his buttons are gold, let's make them sparkle. So we're going to put some little sparkles around him. So we can make these sparkle gold. Maybe we'll do it a little brighter. So when he walks around, his feet sparkle. And we'll put some on. Oops. We will put some on his shoes. Right, so as he walks around, he sparkles. Right, and then we'll put a couple near his but this looks like now he's wearing maybe some sparkles. So I think we're just going to put him, keep him around the shoes. Okay, so we made a wealthy farmer who has gold and Make sure all of that. He is wealthy. He has buttons and boots made of gold. And there we are. So we had a farmer who's poor. We're showing that by color, gray. We have a farmer that's impoverished. We're showing that with patches and the smudges. And then now our farmer has come into wealth. He has gold buttons and gold boots, and his boots are sparkling. I'll definitely can go in and use value here. Maybe I put some texture here. Maybe these are gold snake boots. I don't know, snakeskin boots. And push this a little further. But we can see how we've moved from this character in the middle to creating a farmer who's wearing clothing, right? So if you're at this point of your designing, if your characters are simple shapes, you have to push them further, right? Many of your stories describe characters as beautiful or smart, or, I mean, beautiful or envious, the envious brother, or somebody who wants something, or they're a shoemaker, a plumber, a soldier, what have you. Well, if it's you have a soldier, what does a soldier wear, right? Okay, so let's do one more thing. So um, I'm going to grab it from another story here. We're going to use this monkey as an example. Okay, so if we have a story of two brothers, I had a great question about how do we show emotion, or how do we create characters that embody their needs, wants, and desires. So, and this is also an example of creating texture. So, I have, I made this monkey with a class, and we talked about most people's characters look like this, right? So most people's characters look like this monkey to the left. And quite often I see this, right? This is my monkey. Well, the monkey you have, and for many of you, I'll say, well, play with value. Where are the value changes, right? And that gives visual interest. So if you have a character that's a solid color, how do you play with value changes? You learn that in your monochromatic assignment with color, right? This is still brown, but um, we're playing with value to create visual interest, right? So this is my monkey. And I will say, well, now you need to add texture. So we can add things like this to the monkey to create texture, right? The monkey is hairy. So I just use triangles to suggest hair sticking up on the monkey, or the monkey's been playing around and now he's a bit disheveled. So I just have these little triangles sticking out that suggest the monkey's hair or his fur. I don't know if monkeys have fur or hair, right? And here's another one, right? I could put one on the tail, right? To suggest the tail, the fur or the hair on the tail is disheveled. And we'll do another one on the hair, like this direction better. Oops. Okay. So here's my monkey. Let's group him. And we have a monkey with disheveled hair. I would consider this now texture. To create this monkey, I use shape, I use color, I use value, right? I have curved lines, I have straight lines. I've now created texture. So, what happens if we have a story where we have two brothers and one brother is envious or jealous of the other? So, let's use the monkeys as an example. So, we have two brothers here. If my monkey on the left is going to be the envious brother, I'm going to use color to show that he's envious. So maybe this is my uh, monkey brother now. I'm going to ungroup him. What if he's brown, but I also maybe make him a little kind of blue brown, right? So you guys have the freedom to do a lot of things. I can change the opacity so that there's some blue to this monkey. If I like that, I don't know. I'm just playing around here, right? Thinking something, exploring. I'm gonna move this backward. Maybe I just move this forward. Okay. Um, two brothers. One is brown, but I added a little blue. Does that work? I don't know. I don't know. But just showing that you can change colors, right? To distinguish them. Or maybe I don't play with the hue. Maybe instead I say this brother instead of triangles, and let me group him so I don't forget. Maybe instead of playing with color, maybe I change these to curves, to curls. Let's see. So I need to find a shape. Um, I really like those triangles. Maybe I just use line again. Okay, so I'm just going to go here and choose a line. I'm going to make it thick. Are there lines with curved end? I'm just playing around here, so it doesn't have to be perfect. I really would love something a little more kind of bushy. Let's see what happens with this. Again, I'm just making this up, you guys. I don't think I'm liking that. What can I use to distinguish these brothers? Because I want to give texture. Let me get rid of these for now. Oops. Okay. So I have two brothers, and I want to find some way to make his hair a little bit curly, do something to his hair. But right now, I have a brother that's envious of the other one. So I want to make this brother to show that he's envious. And in the English language and in Western culture, one of the hues, the colors that we use when we suggest someone is jealous is green, right? They're green with envy. So I'm going to make him green. I want a nice dark green. And if he's going to be green here, yeah, I like that green. Okay, so I'm going to make these triangles and the tail that green. All right. I have a brother. Oh, let's send this one to the back. Unless this should be the same frame. Okay, so I just made a brother who's green within me. And maybe this brother was brown before, but when he transforms, he's now green within me. Same thing that can happen to your characters, right? Um, this brother is a wonderful brother, but because this brother, um, we'll do this. Let's keep the original here. Copy. Let's just say one day this brother is out and he's out in the forest and he sits on a rock. I'm going to make this a rock. And the rock has little stones in it, so we'll um, make some little stones. And these stones can be of all kinds of shapes. Some stones are oblong. I'm just making a few little stones here to continue my story. Some stones around. Maybe this one is behind that one. And we'll do two more little stones. Okay, so we have a couple more little stones. We'll just put one there and one here. Okay. And then what happens if my rock has been around for a while, so it has a few little nicks and things. So we're going to just put a little something there to show that some part of the rock is gone. There we are. And we'll do that one more place. We'll do that here. So the rock has a few nicks in it. The rock has stones, and the monkey is sitting on the rock. So this brother is jealous of uh this monkey brother. This monkey brother has a beautiful banana tree and he has a lovely wife and child. And this monkey in the folk tale, this monkey brother does everything he can to take from this monkey brother. So I'm going to make him smaller so I have some space. Um, what happens? I could I could possibly maybe change the ears or the head positioning to show that this monkey is sad. Let's do it with the farmer. So we don't move too much. What happens if I lower him here? Right? What happens if I lower the farmer like that and his head position is different now to suggest he's sad instead of his head being upright, right? So with this brother, I'm going to do something else. This mean brother, who's envious, starts strategizing and taking things away from his brother who's kind. And every time he takes something away, we see the effects of it. Let's put this up for a second. I'm going to group this. We see the effects of it on the kind brother. So my folktale doesn't say that my monkey brother who's kind starts to disappear, but I want to show it. So every time, let's give them a little background. We're going to make them, they're in the forest. So their green is going to be a little, their green is a little, their green, their background is green. So every time, and this is the kind monkey brother's favorite rock, and this is where he goes to sit and think and to contemplate life. So the jealous brother strategized and took away this brother's favorite banana tree. And because he did that, the monkey is sad and he feels a loss. And so we're going to show a loss like this. I'm just going to take a little bit away from him. Yep, a little bit away from him. And then the monkey strategizes and he takes the monkey's house or his farm. So we're going to show a little bit more. Now my circle is going to get a little bigger. We'll start off small here. He took his banana. Now he took his farm. It'll be a little larger. And now he took away his wife. And so that's going to be a bigger circle. And every time we see the story progress, the monkey has a little bit taken away from him. And now, oops, he took away his child, and the monkey is just really, really hurt. And so this is now, so this is what the monkey looks like now. Okay. So you can be creative in how you show us your story, right? I have a monkey who's sad. Every time something's taken away from him, he feels a loss. And he's sitting on he always returns to his favorite rock. Oh, look what happened. Because I had that rock on a white background, those stars work. I now have to change those stars to that green. So it shows that there's some part of the rock that's taken away, right? I'm going to group all of this. Okay. So these are things that you can do to show characters, right? I'm going to make this, I'm going to do one more thing. Well, I think this is good. I don't want to give you guys too many ideas because I want you to come up on with your ideas on your own. So here's me showing just using two shapes and changing position and scale of how a character can be a baby, a toddler, or a child, an adult, and then a senior citizen. Here's an example of two different farmers wearing different colored clothes, but they're still both impoverished. But one could be a poor, happy farmer, and one could be a poor, sad farmer. Here's a farmer in an environment, and I'm using subtraction, but my subtraction has to change color based on the background. And then here's my farmer evolved, wearing new clothes, new shiny gold boots, and his clothing has changed, right? Because I'm telling the story. And then here's a story with two brothers who are monkeys. One is envious of the other. And every time the envious brother takes from the kind brother, we see the loss. We're not just telling the viewer about the loss, but we can see the loss. Okay. So I hope this helps you guys understanding how you can push further, use shape and hue to create texture, and have fun. I hope you guys have fun. All righty. Thank you.